if you like what you're seeing and hearing, please consider subscribing to the podcast. You can go to either Apple iTunes, the Google Play Store, Spotify, or Amazon Music in the podcast section. It'll hit Monday morning or Sunday afternoon, depending on when it posts. And the video will hit on YouTube and Spotify Monday. Spotify will hit Monday evening, and YouTube it'll hit Monday morning, 7 a.m., just like it does for the audio services. So please go to those places and consider subscribing or listening to the show. You can also write to me at gwgpodfellows@gmail.com if you want to write me a letter. Let me know what you think of the show, things like that. Or you can also find me on Twitter at JustLittleJoe. So go to those places and please consider liking and subscribing. Thanks. And with that, we'll get on to the episode. Hello, my name is Joseph Carlson, and this is episode 230 of Gaming with Grief, and I'm calling this episode The Grief of Tacoma. But, you know, that sounds weird considering I'm from Tacoma, the town of, in Washington State. And strangely enough, when I was playing this game, that's why I wanted to play the game. But then I kind of read around the edges, not enough to, ruin the plot for me or anything like that. But I decided to play it because of that. And then I found out it is actually a story of loss and grief in a way. And I will get to that. So I guess, we're going to talk about Tacoma. So the game Tacoma I'm getting all this from their Wikipedia page, by the way. So hopefully this is accurate. The actual Fullbright Company's company page hasn't been updated to since 2019. So I don't know what's going on. I've heard some things behind the scenes, like something happened with Steve. I think I don't want to say. Anyway, there was some problems with the company that I didn't look into. I thought that would have changed my review. But basically this game, Tacoma, is the second game from the Fullbright Game Company. The first game was Gone Home, which is amazing. I played it. Don't think I've reviewed it for... I have to check back my old episodes. I've done a lot of these. I don't think I've reviewed Gone Home. But yeah, I wanted to obviously play this, named after my hometown, all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about Tacoma. Now, you play as... I moved my notes. Hang on. You play as Amy Ferrari. I hope I'm saying that right. You basically are I guess be considered like an insurance adjuster or a claimant investigator. In the future, space stations are a thing. We use them for power, whatever. There's a resource that all these space stations are gathering. So you go to Tacoma, which is this abandoned space station. Again, it reminds you a little bit of Dead Space, this setup, which is fine. But so you're doing this, you're going there to investigate because your company, Venturis, wants to know what happened to the crew because people aboard died. Their bodies weren't recovered. That's a little bit fuzzy at the end. But basically what happens is debris hits one of the air supplies for the station while everybody is on there, and you have to investigate what happened to people, things like that. Now, what I think is interesting is there's this interesting playback system with the AI that you're using. When you go aboard, you find something called Odin, which was the AI for the station, which is very helpful. I don't know here in my notes. I'm also looking at Wikipedia. I don't think it says who voiced Odin. But you did an amazing job. If I can't find it, I'm sorry. Whoever did Odin, you did an amazing job. It's going to be hard to be like a robot. Can you give us a little emotion? That's too much emotion. Can you pull it back? Can you give less emotion? It's got to be really weird. Anyway, Odin is there. It says right here. I just found it. Voiced by Carl Lumbly. You did a great job. It's amazing. But yeah, so anyway, what you do is you go into these sections, and there's these wireframe outlines that are color-coded, like green for the botanist, red for the tech person, blue for security. They're blue, and they're kind of walking through, and you're playing back stuff like on a DVD or, like an old cassette tape. I'm old, so I know what those are. But you're basically fast-forward, rewinding, stuff like that. Through time, you're listening to their dialogue, and then on the timeline, there's an event, and it'll have the... security person up there. So when you see the security person, like there's like a line meaning that something happened in the timeline, and if you go investigate what happened to the security person, you can access their AI. They have these pop-up screens. Everybody's using like virtual reality. You can access their stuff and stop the playback and kind of look at their files and kind of understand what was happening. And that kind of leads you to find out that yes, a piece of debris did hit the station, and everybody's kind of grappling with, we only have so much air left. What could we do to alleviate the situation? Obviously, the engineers and the security people, like, I think we can take these drones or these capsules that we use to send material back down to Earth. We could probably put ourselves in them with air. There's all these theories on what could be done. What I think is interesting is that you kind of realize later on that there is foul play. There again, I'm going to spoil the whole game like I do with most of my reviews. So you've been warned. If you don't want to know what's happening or the setup, just skip past this part or pause right here, which I know these episodes aren't long, so you can listen for a couple minutes and see if you like it. But and just as a side note, I played it on the PlayStation Plus Extra Collection, so that way if you have that, you could play it without any additional cost, which would be a great way to play the game. But basically, as you're kind of going through the station, going to different sections like maintenance, botany, things like that, engineering, you're listening to people talk, you're reading emails from their UI, you're seeing, tragedy. You actually can go in their rooms and listen to people play guitar, or some guys playing a video game. Like, there's all this cool stuff, but like you do realize early on that there's been some form of foul play. That the station, there's this whole backstory with there's still unions and people have to have a job, but like that's dangerous. So the corporations obviously want to save money, and they want AI and robots to do everything. And it's back and forth and back and forth. Humans are celebrating their ability to work. I think they call it not Liberation Day. You know what? I should have written that down. Basically, there's a holiday to say like, yes, we're working and we're proud. And even on the space station Tacoma, they're going to make a cake and celebrate it. But what's happening is the corporations are like, we're spending way too much money. And you find out at the very end, or at least you follow the medic in while she's finding all these files in their server room that basically says, to get humans off of work in general, or just for us to save money, we need an event to happen that is so catastrophic that people will say, yes, this is too dangerous. We need robots and AI. And that just happens to be where we're at Tacoma, with an event like the oxygen supply strangely being disrupted and the people on the crew dying. Now, the thing I didn't get at the end, and maybe I should have watched a YouTube video, was it appeared that people were waiting for a shuttle that never came. And I think they maybe got sucked out into the airlock, like they thought a shuttle was docking with them. But all that was kind of faked, and then they got jettisoned into space or something. That's one thing I was a little unclear with the end, but you don't find any of the bodies. And even at the very end, it's very sad because you kind of see the writing on the wall, what's going to happen. You find all these emails on the server and discover that, these people aren't going to make it. But what I think was a surprise at the end, now again, I'm spoiling this whole game. What I thought it was a surprise at the end was that you find out, you take the AI out of the server, because that's really what you're there. You are pretending to be an insurance investigator for Venturis, but you are actually part of an organization called, let's see if I got the notes here. Juno is the AI on your ship. As Amy, you come with your own AI. Oh yeah, here we go. You're part of the AI Liberation Front. And when you download Odin into your computer, he comes up and you say, listen, Odin, we at the AI Liberation Front believe you're a sentient being. If you'd like protection, we can offer that to you. We are going to a free star system. Would you, agree to that? And Odin says, well, I guess based on the other choice I have to say yes. And it was a complete reversal of that. What I'll say with this, now you're thinking why in this Gaming with Grief, why are you talking about this? What I think is interesting is when you're going through the stories and watching people deal with the fact that they are going to die. Everybody has way different reactions. It seems like, from what I saw, I may not have seen every entry. In fact, I didn't get the trophy for it, so I know I didn't. But, the medic kind of falls into despair. He's trying to figure out something to do. She doesn't know. Odin is the AI is counseling her, like, do this, and he's very calm and everything like that. It's very calm. And the other crew members, like the engineer and the security person, are like, we need to do something about this. If we know we're going to die, how much oxygen we have? They start trying to put a plan in place. The captain of the vessel, or the person in charge, she believes that, they'll send a rescue thing. This is protocol. If something goes wrong, they'll send a rescue thing. They'll come get us. So we just need to, believe in, the process. And that's what we need to do. But I like everybody is very believable and very measured in what they do. The botanist really breaks down. He has a husband and a kid back home, and they are just he doesn't know what to do. He basically, if I understand right, says goodbye. Some of the crew members get in cryopods. It looks like I never found the cryopod. So again, maybe that's, I need to read a walkthrough or something. I obviously didn't platinum it, so I didn't see every corner of the ship. But really, I was there to see what people experienced when they knew they're gonna die. I mean, I don't know the percentage, but I can imagine very few people know a timeline for when they're gonna die. I mean, plus or minus a few minutes running out of oxygen has got to be up there with a pretty exact time that the end is coming. And so I think that it is fairly fascinating that, it's just so, it was really touching to me to read everybody's story. The botanist writing letters home saying he'll miss his son. And in the beginning, if I was reading the right person, he had problems at home with his marriage, not that it was like divorce ending, but it's like normal stuff. Like, oh, I know I'm gone a lot. I need to make it up to you. All this kind of stuff, which I thought was just so, I think it reminds me a little bit of the Starfield episode. It may seem stereotypical, but it doesn't mean it can't pack a punch. And I was just reading text out of an email, and it was like these little moments of, what would you do confronted? Would you fight or flight? Would you shut down? There's like this whole spectrum of feelings that people have towards death. And I thought, this is amazing, to have this kind of desperate, whatever, the individual actors who did their parts did an amazing job of kind of, embodying these roles. And I think it's things like that. Like, again, this is a fantastical game with a fantastical premise, but, people for the most part, don't know when you're going to go. It happens in a moment, and then everybody else around you has to rally around you and deal with, or, rally around the event and help your family out. But this thing of like, you have a countdown to when it is going to all be over. So you need to prepare. I thought that was done really well. I applaud the team. I actually don't know what they're working on next, but I really, really, really want to see, and I'm looking forward to what they're doing next. And I was going to buy this when it came out, but time and finances and things, and but luckily this was part of the PS Plus collection, the extra tier, and I was able to play it. So I definitely recommend it for just that countdown ticking clock of what do you do when it's going to be your time, and how do you deal with that? And I've reviewed a lot of games. I can't think of a game. I mean, I talk about it a lot, but, I did That Dragon Cancer. Obviously, you have a disease, there's a timeline, but that can fluctuate based on the individual treatment, type of care you get, what you do with the advice of your doctor, how there's so many factors. This is, hey, in 12 hours, you're going to run out of oxygen. And I thought it was great. The team needs to be applauded. Like I said, I read some things about the company that have happened later on. I hope all that is resolved and they're able to just move forward and create amazing games. But I think that is it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, this will hit, all the, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. support the podcast, you can write to me at gwgpodfellows@gmail.com. And I think that's it for this week, guys, but I will see you next week.